Hello everyone, welcome to StraightA. Dawson back on our video here today, and man, I'm in shambles. I'm recording this on Sunday in between the basically Sunday night game and the other games of the day, and man, I am in shambles. I'm just you know, it's on paper it's actually been a really great week of football for both watching and for just how I'm rooting for teams and my fantasy stuff. All that is going well, but it looks like I'm taking 2 L's both in the leagues that I'm ahead in, so I'm really just bottoming out a little bit, but we'll see. And we just got news that Brandon Ayuk might be out for the rest of the season, so that's going to hurt me a little bit in the main league. Taking my final league that was 6-0, going 6-1 it looks like, unless Derrick Henry and Chris Godwin pull up a miracle against Kyler Murray. We'll see. Well, anyway, I'm not going to go delve into that too much. This power rankings is for going into week 7. I'm trying to catch up a little bit on it, so hopefully this upload helps me out. But just keep that in mind. I'm not even really going to do a proper intro. Just leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Going into these power rankings, of course, as you guys know I get a bunch of flack for all this. It's going into week 7, so it's not counting the games that are happening today or the Thursday night game with the Broncos Saints. Keep that all in mind as I'm talking about all this. So let's keep it easy on this side right here with all 8 of these teams. Not really too much to talk about. Panthers, Raiders, Patriots, Titans are consistently the bottom 4 teams. Panthers are just really poverty. Raiders have some upside. Patriots with Drake May actually look like they might get something going. Tennessee Titans, outside of their quarterback situation, actually could put something together. So that's kind of why they're in the order they are. Next, move up to the kind of the next tier up. Cardinals and Browns, they have really fallen from grace. Really, it's honestly the fallen from grace tier of Cardinals, Browns, Jags, and Giants, all falling from grace in one way or the other, but all 4 of them, for one reason or another, were at least, you know, some upside ahead, but now they are on a downward spiral. Cardinals, they just haven't looked good in weeks, and they're finally picking up big losses, and it's time to punish them. They're back down to their normal, you know, lower 8 self. Browns, they were up there for a little bit, but their defense, their offense, everything coming together just puts together a train wreck of -4 here. Of course, I'm not going to talk about the Deshaun Watson injury because he's probably out for the rest of the season as well. But that will probably hurt. Honestly, it might help them actually in their rankings because it looks like even Jameis was way better when he was out there. So that's why where they are. Jags, I still think they have some pretty good upside. I think Trevor Lawrence and that team can put something together, but they're just not getting the wins, not converting anything worth watching really. So Jags at number 26. When it comes to I got some hair in my mouth. Ugh. Blech. The Giants, they actually don't look half bad. They're actually a well-rounded bottom below average team, if that makes sense. The Daniel Jones actually doing something. The run game actually has some life in it with Tyrone Tracy in there. The defense, especially in the defensive line, looks really good, and they keep it kind of close for the most part. We'll talk about the week 7 game later for the Giants, but at least against the Bengals they kept it pretty damn close against a high-powered offense. Got to give them some credit there. So that's the boring ones. I won't go into too much detail with those, but let me go ahead and just lower these down before everybody freaks out. It's like, oh my gosh, look at you putting all these guys in certain rankings. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, the Chiefs are number 1. Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, sorry. All right. Number 24, the Jets. This is not taking account the Devontae Adams trade as much. I guess it kind of is, kind of not. Yeah, it's obviously in my mind because it's going to help out the team a lot. Close game with the Bills. They've looked pretty good. They actually put up great stats. Breece Hall looks great. Robert Saleh getting fired actually looks like this helps the Jets team a lot. And we'll see how that kind of translates in long-term production for the Jets. They're playing the Steelers right now, I think, or about to play the Steelers. So we'll see if this actually gets their stock up going into week 8 even more. But I actually have some high upside on the Jets. Same with the Chargers. They actually showed a bit of life. Justin Herbert looked good. The run game looked good. The defense feel like it came back quite a bit. So it seems like these 2 teams that had higher upside really fell down the rankings really quick in the last couple weeks, but are now kind of climbing back with some longer term upside that may be able to turn into a good season overall. Saints, of course, they're on a downward spiral, but like I can't punish them this week. I'm going to punish them more next week, obviously, to the Broncos loss, but they're kind of into the Giants, Jags, Browns territory at this point. But again, before this game, I would have kept them right below the Broncos. The Broncos at 21. Again, this is not counting the fact of this week 8 game or week 7 game, so keep that in mind as we talk about it. But Bo Nix overall looks pretty good. The run game didn't have it's on and off for the life it gives, and the receivers are just like there's nobody they rely on solely. They kind of just spread the ball around overall, so we'll see how that works in the long term, but they just kind of stay where they are. Dolphins, again, they kind of halted their descent. They were really free falling right now, but they finally slightly kind of hesitated their fall a little bit. So I guess that's thanks to a bye week, in fairness. But maybe it's like this is a good breather, and maybe they can go into this next week with a higher upside chance. Colts, number 19. I'm going to stop referring to week 7, by the way, because I'm getting tired of remembering which is which. The Colts, Anthony Richardson's back. We'll see how that really gives them in the long-term production. Their run game has been weaker without Jonathan Taylor there. Their receivers are hit or miss depending on whose day it is. The defense is below average at best. 19 feels fair. 18, the Falcons are really soaring up in the offense scheme. The defense is actually holding up pretty damn well. So I feel actually pretty confident about the Falcons moving up gradually, but they're still kind of an outside looking in playoff team. Commanders, they are kind of in that weird area, especially now with Jane Daniels injured. We got to hear more about that and see if that actually happens. But they actually did pretty damn good in the game without Jane Daniels. So we'll see how it goes overall. But at the very least, they moved down one. You know, you got to take, when you take an L, even if it's to the Ravens, you got to take a little bit of a back step. But they are still an outside looking in, like, oh, we could possibly do this. Seahawks, I mean, they are almost frauds at this point. I mean, is that kind of a proven fact at this point? They got destroyed by the 49ers, but I mean, you got to compete in those games, especially against division rivals. So I don't feel that much sympathy. Steelers, I mean, they're prototypical what they do, so they're going to be around that 15 spot unless they just really get overtaken by explosive teams. And I'm realizing I'm covering up the rest of the power rankings here. Honestly, I may just go ahead and no, I'll at least talk about these first. The Steelers, again, they're going to be typically in this area. I'm finally putting some respect on the NFC North in terms of the Bears, at least. So when it comes to the Bears, they've actually been doing really, really well. Caleb Williams has been showcasing a lot, showcasing a lot of upside. You got the defense showcasing a lot of really good upside as well. I'm trying to put this in the words. Caleb Williams has looked really good. The offensive weapons, even though they've been kind of going in and out of usefulness of like Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, et cetera, they are actually putting together really good games on offense. Their defense is actually putting together really good stuff as well. So I'm actually kind of really hype about seeing the Bears do well. I think they're going to have a harder schedule, and they face off against really bad teams, but they have climbed up to the top 14 for a reason. I mean, they are 4-2. They beat some teams very handily, and they definitely controlled the games in a lot of different scripts. So I gotta reward the Bears at least that much, even if it might be a little bit fraudulent at this point. They've earned the 14th spot. The 13th spot goes to the Cowboys. They have finally fallen off the cliff. I mean, when you get bangered up 47-9, even if it's against my second best team in the league, you got to go down quite a bit. I mean, you got destroyed. You did nothing that game. Just straight to the point. Bengals go up too. I mean, you beat the. Oh crap! Who did they beat? Oh, they beat the Giants barely, but they're climbing up their ranks. They're looking better every day, so they're slowly but surely going up. Finally, hopefully this is getting into the respect territory for the Vikings. Holy fucking shit! If I can stop getting hate for the Vikings being so low, the Vikings I'm not going to refer to week 7, but they don't look that good. They're on a bye week. They went up 2 slots. Congratulations! Fuck yes, Vikings! Good job, boys! Yeah. They're a good team, okay? They're a great defense. They have great offensive weapons. Sam Darnold's still a question mark, but they're getting the job done. And you know what? I can't even shit on them too much even this week because the Lions beat them, but barely. It's a divisional game, close game, great game. The Vikings are real contenders. They're not quite top 10 just yet. All right, give them some time. Let them cook. Let them simmer a little bit, and we'll talk about it later. The Rams, again, I think they're actually piecing together something really awesome here. Their offense is looking pretty good. Their defense is stepping up quite a bit more than I thought it would. So the Rams actually being a top 10 team is kind of sneaky, but I can understand if you want to keep them a little bit lower, but I think it could be a good spot. Eagles, number 9. As much as I hate them, they are a top 10 team. They're inconsistent, but they are at least inconsistent in the range of they're never like utterly atrocious, but they're just never utterly great. So they're really inconsistent in the range of like being an 8 to a 3. So like in that range, but they're never atrocious. They're never horrible. And they're never great, you know, that type of deal. So I got to give some Eagles the credit. Bills, they've been up and down. They had a really great start, and they've kind of simmered down quite a bit to some of these hotter teams at 7-1. But they're still very respectful, still solid top 10. Bucks, they are one of those hot teams right now. Baker Mayfield, that team's really looking good. Bucky Irvin getting involved is really good. The defense is kicking ass, at least where it's supposed to. So that they are doing some great stuff. Then you got the Houston Texans, the Packers, and the 49ers. So the 49ers are finally falling in my mind to that tier of, okay, Texans, Packers, 49ers. And to everybody saying that the Packers shouldn't be number 5, go fuck yourself. I mean, they are doing some awesome things. That run game is great. The Jordan Love has been doing awesome work. The receivers overall, like there's a bunch of number 2 receivers, but they're actually kind of playing like they're almost pseudo number 1s. And they're doing awesome stuff. The defense is holding up like none other else. They are competing in all these great games. I love the Packers number 5. Texans, maybe you could argue them. Those are two teams I'm definitely willing to have a conversation about being top 5, because the Texans have been really, other than like one outlier game, really consistently good. Like very solid on offense. The defense is picking up the scraps where they can. Doing very, very well. 49ers number 4. Again, this is probably going to be a hatred thing. It's like, oh my gosh, 49ers keep on losing. And you're right. Honestly, they'll probably move down even further this next week because they are consistently losing, and now it's time to punish them. I will 100% recognize that right here, right now. But going into week 7, I still believe they were just barely better than the Packers and Texans in that category, just because their roster and team scheme are just so damn good. And losing to the Chiefs by like 10 points, I think, it does hurt their stock a little bit, but still think worthy of the conversation. Ravens, Lions, Chiefs. Again, Chiefs are undefeated. They won the Super Bowl last year. They're going to stay at number 1 until they lose. And, granted, they haven't been playing well. It's not like they're way ahead of everybody. Lions are actually really close now because the Lions have been putting up really crazy stats, really looking good, and actually just surprising teams with how they play. That's what the Lions have been doing, and they've been doing a damn good job at it. And I cannot even wait to talk about maybe the Lions being better than the Chiefs when the Vikings game gets factored in the count. Ravens, they're just consistently top team. I mean, they're not playing amazingly well, but they're like not playing worse than like a 7 out of 10 type week. So I think they still very much deserve the top 5 spot, number 3 in this case. So I'm going to get rid of my little webcam here so you can kind of see the list overall. But again, right now, I would take the Chiefs over the line in terms of like power of like, okay, these teams probably would probably do better or have been doing better than the team below them. Chiefs over Lions, yeah, it's close, but barely. Lions over Ravens, Ravens over 49ers, 49ers over Packers and Texans, very barely, over Bucks, over Bills, all very consistently. Eagles, Rams. The Rams, Vikings, Bengals area is kind of something you can debate. Bengals, I think, are still very solid at 12. But then you could probably swap around the Rams and the Vikings if you wish. I'm not going to debate that one too much with you. The Cowboys, Bengals over Cowboys, yes. Cowboys over Bears, yes. Bears over Steelers and Seahawks. The Bears feel like such a weird team to say that about, but I can't say I don't think that. So it's a very weird, feels weird having the Bears over some of these teams, but I mean, I got to. Over the Commanders. Commanders feel like they could also be in this like 14th through 16th spot. But again, I've taken into account a lot of different things, and they didn't play amazingly well against the Ravens. That's kind of showing maybe the more fraudulent side of things. But none of these other teams, I guess Seahawks have been kind of chosen as frauds. But the difference is the Seahawks are going down while the stock of the Commanders going up. Steelers, I think, are around that basis. So I think the Commanders would only be at 16 in my mind at the very most, but again, if you want to put them at 16, I understand. Falcons at 18. Seahawks over Commanders. Commanders over Falcons. Falcons over Colts. Colts over Dolphins. Dolphins over Broncos. Broncos over Saints. Saints over Chargers. Chargers over Jets. You can kind of debate the Chargers and Jets one. I will change around a little bit maybe, but I think this is still very, very good. Jets over Giants. Giants over Jags. Jags over Browns. Browns over Cardinals. Also a debatable one, but I think this. So I'm not going to fight you if you say the Cardinals at 27. And in the order of the Titans, Patriots, Raiders, Panthers. I think this is a very damn good list. I think this is one of my better ones so far, with a couple things that could happen in between, but that's momentum. That's, again, how the momentum of these teams go. Go ahead, roast me in the comments below. I'll see y'all in the next one.